quick video. I thought this would be kind of fun. So we are going to open a baby that was shipped to me by a customer, and this baby needs some touch-ups. It has some paint rubs and things like that. And so I'm thinking what we'll do is show the baby. I need to open this part. And maybe I'll even do a video of showing me work on the paint rubs. That might be fun too. No promises, but I might include that in this video. So you have to keep watching to find out. All right, I'm gonna use my handy dandy back scratcher because my scissors are with my painting studio, or in my painting studio. That worked. Okay. So this is a really neat kit. I have painted one of these before. Very realistic. It's a Reborn from Bountiful Baby. And this one just happens to be very realistic. This was a very popular kit for a lot of people, and they were discontinued. I have no idea why they discontinued such a popular kit. Really don't. Voila! Here she is. Hello, precious. All right, so let's go ahead and reveal who she is, and then we'll kind of look at the areas that need to be fixed. All right. So she is strapped in really nicely, double diapered. That's always a good idea, huh? All right. Okay, sweetie, let's see. There we go. Okay, there she is. So this baby was painted with a very newborn red look, which is kind of cool. And this is Ruby Awake. There she is. She has beautifully painted hair. Very cute. I'm not sure who the artist is, but if I find out, I will post that in my description. Now we're gonna inspect. Okay, so we have, I believe, some problems on the hands. And so here's the thing, when doing a really red color on a doll, when you're painting vinyl with red, red is very unforgiving. So what happens for some odd reason is that it's very prone to being rubbed off. Any paint is. Seeing if there's varnish here. Any paint is prone to being rubbed off, honestly, but for some reason, the red, either it's just way more noticeable or what have you, it happens frequently. So when painting a baby with a lot of red areas, because I love doing that on the hands and feet, you definitely want to varnish 2 or 3 times. And this, yeah, this baby feels like there's no varnish, or the varnish has been rubbed off, definitely. You know what? There's only varnish on the head, not on the limbs. I can feel it. It's just vinyl. It's just a feeling of vinyl. So that's why the rubbing occurred most likely and happened. So we are going to fix that. So we need to fix the hands. On this hand, we have, on the thumb, there is a little area to repair there. And then on the feetsies, we have some paint rubbing there. Aha. And here. Oh, it goes up even further. Okay. So, there we go. That is something we're going to have to fix. Yeah. And then we're going to varnish those limbs. So, this is Ruby. And she says, "Hi, everybody. I'm here getting fixed up." Yeah, so this is just gonna be hopefully a pretty simple project. And I will show the results on this video and potentially the process of fixing this baby. We're not going to be stripping anything. We're not going to be stripping any paint. We're going to be trying to match and blend the paint that is already there that needs to, or the, yeah, we're going to paint and blend the areas that need to be fixed. So stay tuned. Well, hello, hello. Surprise! We're doing the process on video. So we're fixing up this little girl. And the first thing we need to do is take off her limbs. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Just making sure everything's kind of out of the way. Oh, I'm working on a toddler right now. Very early stages. And then I have this baby that needs to be rooted. This is such a cute face. I'm hoping that all of this is in frame because I have the camera set over there. Okay, so the first thing that I decided to do with this doll that we are kind of rehabbing is we are going to do the varnish first. So this doll, I can tell, was varnished on the head, but there was no varnish done on the limbs. The limbs are just pure vinyl. It doesn't feel like any varnish was rubbed off. It feels like it was never applied. So because of that, you're more prone to get paint rubs, and those are very frustrating for collectors. So this collector sent me this doll so that I can repair those paint rubs and protect her paint from having any other issues. I did not paint this doll. So the first thing we want to do is get some nail clippers, and we're going to take off all of these zip ties. And sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do if they're super tight, but what you want to do, let me actually take the scissors for this one, is you want to make sure you get underneath the zip tie and try your best not to cut the fabric, which isn't always easy. So sometimes the fabric will be affected, and boom, we have an arm. Okay. So if you have these tighter, or these zip ties that are on tighter like this, this isn't gonna work because you need a little give from the head of the zip tie to the actual body of the zip tie. So some thread scissors, got these on Amazon, would work great. Actually, I might be able to, yeah, this one came off without even taking the zip tie off. That's probably good advice. Check that first. First of all, it should not be that easy to take off, but if it is, it is. Yep, these are all coming off very easily. So I don't need to clip any more of the zip ties. And now you have a head with a body, no limbs. And then we're gonna get the head off. Yep, everything popped off. So I clipped one that I didn't need to clip, but that's okay. I will replace that zip tie, okay? So let's say goodbye to the body. And we are going to varnish this baby. And I'm sure that you've seen videos of this done before. But where's my little trash can? Okay, so here's our steps. We're varnishing first because we want the paint that we're adding to the affected areas, we want the paint to have a grip. So the varnish kind of gives it some texture, some teeth to grab onto. And that's especially important when you're doing repairs, because what you're doing is you're applying paint to an already painted doll. You're trying to match the colors used, and you know, you want to blend it in. So it's just better to provide some grip, because this vinyl is very shiny, and painting on it, you want some grip there. So we are going to varnish, and I am using the Irresistible's Heat Set Varnish Matte. And I have a mop brush. So I'm just gonna take some out of here, stick it in my jar and mash it around to kind of loosen it up and get it softened. And I'm gonna add a dab of, just a little dab of thinner. Just helps it glide on a little bit. And then I'm gonna take my sponge that I use for varnishing, and we're just going to, whew, her head is heavy for sure. We're gonna put this all over the doll, and then we're gonna pounce it off and smooth it out with the sponge. All right. It's a little more difficult to do on dolls that are already weighted because they're heavy and you don't have a lot of grip underneath the flange. All right, so just keep an eye on where this started and where it stopped. I'm spreading around the extra. We just want to really protect this baby and then give us a good surface to work on when we add some paint to the areas that have had paint rubs. All right, and you want to do this in a way that you're applying a very light touch. I can be heavy-handed, and so I have to remind myself to have a gentler touch because it goes on very easily and you don't need to apply pressure. And when you do apply pressure, sometimes you can leave edges in, you know, where your sponge is hitting. So you just want to make sure that you're only using this textured part, and these lines here on the edges aren't going to show up in the final varnish. Okay, so we have the back of the head done. And the front to the corners of the mouth and the cheeks. And it looks like that's all blended. All right. Then we're gonna apply for the rest. And we are gonna do the head together in regular speed, and then I'm gonna speed it up for the limbs, because that way you'll be able to, you know, see me do that process, but you won't have to see it in regular speed because, you know, who's got time for that? See, I'll be doing it in regular speed. I have no choice, but you, you can watch it faster. All right. Looking good, looking good. And this baby has some very well glued in glass eyes. So we don't want, we want to keep an eye on that in the oven. You can heat up glass eyes, but you just want to make sure you keep an eye on it. Acrylic eyes do not belong in the oven. They will cloud up and look very bad, and that would be sad. Okay, so we got this applied and smoothed out, and I'm gonna set that head aside and let that dry just a bit. Okay, let's see if we can get the head to stand up on its own. Yeah. Okay. All right, we got the head. I'm just getting a little bit in the ear. Want to make sure I cover the whole surface, you know, one and done. Okay, let's move on to this leggy. dry, just a little bit, and then we're gonna pop it in the oven and I'll be back. Okay, we're back, and we have varnished this baby so that the shine has been taken away, and that's the head. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to fix these areas that have paint missing. And I'm gonna start with the thumb because that has a small area that needs to be touched up. So it's really just about color matching and trying to get it back to its original state. And it can take a few attempts for sure. So right now I'm using what I believe the artist used, which was this lip blush nail kind of red color. It should match up pretty well, and you might have to go with a little bit of magenta, but I want to test this out first. And I'm just gonna go right into the actual paint, because when you have thinner added, too much thinner added, it's just gonna slide all over the place. You know, the trickiest part of this is color matching and then blending so that it matches the other areas. It's not difficult necessarily, it's just kind of tedious because it takes a lot of little maneuvering of the paint and everything, and trying to get it to match up. It's looking pretty good so far. And when I get a good coverage, I want to bake right after. Even though it's just one tiny little spurt of color, that's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna bake that in before I do the next, because once I start putting more on, it's gonna move that around and make it more difficult. So we wanna set that. So when you do repairs, there is a lot of baking involved because you are going to do quite a few layers on that one area. So I'm gonna leave that. Actually, there's always like one little section that can bother you, and then you mess with it, and then the rest of it goes away. So let me see. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna bake that. And this leg is more tricky because you got this whole area here, and I'm gonna play around with seeing what this red will do over it. There we go. That's kind of blending it in a little bit, so we're gonna work with that. And I'm gonna probably add a touch of ochre yellow, but right now, I just wanna kinda get a little depth to that area in color so we can see how that looks compared to the rest. Okay, I'm thinking going through my paints. And I think I want to add a little touch of this with the red and see what we get. Yep, that looks like it's gonna blend nicely, but we need more red than magenta for sure. So I'm gonna mix those two together. I'm just gonna pounce that in. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this, because I know I work at the edge of the table. Get some red added. There we go. Okay. So that little area is still lighter, but when I get a good enough coverage on it, I'm gonna go ahead and bake that as well. And then we'll keep working. Okay. See how it, you know, kind of just disappears after you work on it a little bit. That's why it's a little tedious. And I'm gonna rip off the edge of this sponge. All right, we may be ready to set that in. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that right now. Actually, give me a second here. Okay. And we'll work on this part right here after. But, oh, there's a little section there too. Let me. Okay. All right, so I'll be back after I bake this set. See you then. Okay, we are back at it. And we have touched up the thumb here. So, and we put a little nail tip on so it kind of matches the rest. And then we are gonna work on this part here. So, let's see. Okay, so what I want to try to do is I'm mixing up Flesh 02 and a little bit of raw sienna and lip blush nail because I'm trying to get close to the skin color. And yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay, so as you noticed, I decided to speed up most of that video. The view wasn't the best, and I thought maybe it would be kind of neat to see it in action sped up, but I did work a few more hours and finish the areas, bake them, and I just wanted to kind of show you up close with the major paint rub where we got. Okay, well, I did that final bake. I think it's looking pretty good. This is the area that we repaired. So you can tell that something's been done if you look closely, but it's better than the vinyl showing just from the paint rub. So hopefully this shows you that it's not the end of the world if your dog gets a paint rub. It can be fixed. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.